From the deepest bowels of your imagination.
Actually, he's from Canada there, bud.
From the famed Hotter Show Studios, this is The Hotter Show.
What is up, everybody? We're Will and Audio here today on episode 98 of The Hotter Show. What is going on? I hope you're doing fan-freaking-tastic. Thank you so much for tuning and clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. We have a cool podcast for you today, guys. I'm talking about 10 creepy video game urban legends or creepypastas, whatever you want to call them. We are discussing them here today on The Hotter Show. I found 10 of them that I think are the best or the creepiest or the most interesting, and I discuss them on the podcast, and I see if I can debunk them. I see if what I find, just to try and make sense of them. And there's some very good ones on this list. I think it's a very great list. Did a lot of research on some of them as well, so hope you guys enjoy that. Hope you guys are looking forward to the Hotter Show episode 100th live cast that's coming up February 19th at 7 p.m. Very excited about that. Hopefully you guys saw the event page I put up on Monday. Very, very excited, guys. I'm very hype about the whole thing. I really am. Looking forward to hanging out with you guys. Hopefully we have a good turnout for it. I'm sure we will, because I'm sure people are excited about it. Very, very fun stuff. I still can't believe that we are over a year now into the Hotter Show, which was February 4th. I'm I'm grateful. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm excited for today's podcast, guys. I don't really have a lot more to say for an intro here today, guys. I'm very excited. Be sure to keep it locked to the Hotter Show social media, keep it everything that's going on. I'm very excited for this list, guys. So I just want to get right into it here. Don't want to waste any more time. Let's talk about 10 creepy video game urban legends / creepypastas. Let's get into it. Alright, guys, so we're talking 10 creepy / weird video game urban legends / creepypastas, if you will. What I did was I was inspired by a picture I saw that I'd never seen before of a mod for a game called Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, which you guys may or may not know about. Amazing game. I played that game a lot as a child and into my teens and everything. Loved that game. Still do. I'm very excited for the remake, I guess, that's happening, or it's going to be a whole new story or whatever the hell it is, but very excited for that either way. And basically, it was a picture I saw. I'm going to upload it on the Instagram if you guys want to see it. Just search The Hotter Show. And it was a picture of Morrowind, and it was a caption I'd never seen before, and it said, "Watch the skies," and I was like, what the hell? Like, I've never even, what are they talking about? So anyway, I did some research and found out that there's a mod you can get for Morrowind, and it basically makes it this whole new game, and it's like kind of this urban legend, if you will, of all these different things it does to the game and everything, and blah, 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 blah. But it's a very real kind of urban legend, but there's all these kind of creepy pastas and legends around it of people, stuff in that mod that I'm going to get into just in a little bit. I'll talk about it. It's one of the last ones I talk about in my list here, where like people kind of like go insane and they get like suicidal thoughts, and it really messes them up emotionally and mentally, these kind of the stuff in this mod. So I was like, you know what, that's a very interesting topic. It's something I've never really discussed before. Obviously I had the 10 unsolved mysteries, which got over really well. So I think this is kind of in the same ballpark, where it's something that definitely I wouldn't normally talk about. So I think it's very, very interesting. I'm very excited to talk about it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, because I put a lot of research into this, so hopefully you guys appreciate it and you get a kick out of it. But as you guys know, urban legends are a part of everyday life, whether it's the call's coming from inside the house, or, the hook was on the car door, whatever it is. They're a part of everyday life. And whether it's a horror story that was made up by someone or something that's a little more real, it can be pretty creepy sometimes to sit and read them or hear them secondhand from somebody, or bloody hell, experience them, you know? It's part of the gaming world, and I don't think a lot of people are aware of this. Kind of these urban legends, a lot of them have been confirmed to be creepypastas, which if you guys aren't familiar with what a creepypasta is, basically, it's like a made-up horror story on the internet, is the quick gist of it. Just because they are not real doesn't make them any less creepy to me, however, and I think most people can agree. Something like a good horror movie, even though I hate horror movies, just because it's not real doesn't mean it doesn't scare the crap out of you and you're walking back from your car in the dark and you see something else. Oh, what's going on, man? Like, it's real. And I found 10 of these stories that, to me, yeah, some of them are pretty far-fetched and some of them are pretty lame and whatever. There's a conspiracy theory. There's definitely a couple creepypastas in there as well. My number one is actually a very well-known creepypasta, but I still think it's worth telling you guys about if you've never heard the story before. But they're still creepy, and I found 10 of them that I want to talk about and just dive right into these stories and the weird, vague, and somewhat horrifying world of video game urban legends. So let's get right into it here. My number 10, even though this isn't really like a top 10 list, it's just 10 of them. I'd say my top 3 are in order because they get very dark and kind of freak me out the most. But number 10 is based around a game called Braid. And it is the fact that the princess that you are trying to rescue in this game is actually a metaphor for, wait for it, an atomic bomb. That's right, an atomic bomb. You didn't hear me wrong, an atomic bomb. That rhymed. So, starting out, this is more of a conspiracy theory kind of than it is anything, but it's still pretty damn creepy, and it does have some solid evidence to back it up. And I mean, I'm a believer after reading this, guys. I really am. I never played this game before, but I heard a lot about it. A couple of my friends played it, said it was a pretty straightforward, fun platformer game in which you play as a dude whose name is Tim, and he can reverse time and uses his powers to find a missing princess. Kind of like Mario. Pretty simple game, you know. Simplistic, very colorful, and it's very cool. But the last level of the game, basically you find this princess and it finds out that basically she doesn't want anything to do with you. I guess you're a jerk or whatever. But throughout the game, there's the stars that you collect. And there's no real way to know how to find them. They are not worth any achievements. The game does not even acknowledge that you get them. Like, you literally have to be psychic to find this kind of weird, creepy secret. And it's very bizarre. Like the one, I know I read that you get it by, you literally have to stand still in this one spot for 2 hours. Like, how would you know how to do that? Like, what the hell? So basically, you go throughout the game getting these stars, and they're very bizarre to get them. And then once you have them all, it's very important you have all the stars. There's 7 of them. You go to the final level, which basically is creepy in itself because it basically entails you chasing after this princess. At first, it appears that you're helping her run away from this boss or whatever, but then it turns out she's actually running away from you. So basically, in the original game, I don't know what happens when you catch her. I imagine nothing good. But once you get all the stars, this gets very weird very quickly. Upon catching her, she begins to flash, like freakishly and violently she starts flashing. And then you hear the sound of an atomic bomb detonating. And the screen fills with like an explosion. So, very bizarre. After everything you went through in the game, all the cutesy enemies and the pretty environments, it turns out, you can believe this if you like or not, but I'm a believer in it at this point, that it turns out that this whole game is a metaphor for a very dark topic of the creators wanting to go back and undo what they've done. The fact that, you have these powers to reverse time and all this kind of thing, it's basically all a metaphor. for them wanting to go back and undo the damage that they've done to the world by creating the atomic bomb or whatever. Seems a little crazy. You're probably already going, TJ, like, you're reading way too much into this. That's not what it is, blah, 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 blah. Maybe she was just really pissed off. I mean, if I had a chance to blow myself up if someone I hated was chasing after me, I'd probably do it. But, did I mention that in the epilogue, there was a quote from Kenneth Bainbridge, the head of the Trinity atomic bomb tests. Very bizarre. And basically, the actual quote part itself is just like, I'm paraphrasing big time right now, because I should have pulled the quote off. But basically, it's just like, you know, we're the son of bitches now, is what he said. And the fact that basically these people knew, like, wow, like, we've done this thing that it's you know, now we're going to be the ones that are those sons of bitches dropping an atomic bomb. It's all very weird. When I read this, I was like, wow, like this at first I was like, this just doesn't make any sense. There's no way. Even throughout everything, I was like, okay, I don't think there's much. Yeah, there's maybe some truth to this. I can understand the metaphor and everything. It totally makes sense. Hidden in this really cutesy game. Doesn't mean it's not a good game, by the way. But then it's like you're this guy who's chasing after this person who basically doesn't want to be caught. And then you catch her and she explodes. So it's very interesting metaphor. It's a very deep metaphor. Having Kenneth Bainbridge's quote in there, you know, I think there might be some truth to this, in my opinion anyway. Still very creepy. Moving on, and from that, we have my number 9, which this one's is basically confirmed that it is a creepypasta and everything, but it's still very creepy. That is the story of a haunted NES Godzilla game. So who doesn't like it, guys, when you're playing a game and it starts channeling spirits and it starts to ask you in dialogue very oddly personal questions that seem aimed directly at you. I'm not saying like, hey, what would you like to do here, player, or whatever. It's like, so player, why'd you cheat on your girlfriend? Or, hey, player, why did you not call back your friend or whatever? Or it's like stuff like that. Very bizarre, deep personal stuff. How come you never say goodbye to your you know, great uncle when he passed away or whatever, or stuff like that. But just bizarre stuff like that. In this twisted version of the game, enemies take on strange new appearances. And when I say strange, I mean strange, guys. You can find pictures of this all over the place online. And they just become these grotesque monsters, even more so than they would be in a freaking Godzilla game. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, there's a picture, it's of Godzilla, and it's like this weird demon scorpion-like thing next to it, and it's just like, that does not belong in the game. Like, you can tell by looking at it. It's very creepy. But not only that, but there's these, like I said, there's these bizarre personality questions that are posed to the player, questioning their personality and stuff. And gradually the author of this article, who claimed to have this haunted game, is convinced throughout the article that this game is speaking directly to him. There's a massive screenshot gallery that kind of corroborates his claims, showing off the game's corrupt, pixelated horror. And it is actually pretty terrifying, guys. Like I said, like, given its age and that it's pixelated and stuff, it is what it is. But to me, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty freaking creepy. And they really do look truly horrifying for a Godzilla game. But, you know, all that said, this is just a creepypasta. Right? Well, not anymore, guys. Because developer Larry Neary, interesting name, is working on right now turning this internet horror story or creepypasta into a actual game. Not just a ROM hack, but a game. I don't know why the hell you'd want to do this. Me personally. Let's make a game. Okay, let me pose this question to you here, guys. Let's make a game in which we try to mimic haunted spirits that will channel our deceased relatives and ask us bizarre personal questions that will make us want to basically, like, shoot ourselves. Why would you do this? Why would you want to make haunted games a reality? I don't understand that personally, but that's just me. I'm a bitch with this kind of stuff, so maybe that's why. I mean, you check this out. It's very creepy. Haunted Godzilla game, just very, very bizarre. Don't really have a lot else to say about it. Just very, very bizarre. Number 8. This is a very interesting one because this one here, this is very interesting. It's Kill Switch, the game that erased itself from history. Very clever title there from TJ Hodder. So, this one is purely Telltale for me, as I didn't really find much solid evidence on it. I found pictures and stuff, but I didn't really find any concrete evidence of this game actually fully existing other than pictures, which, I only believe pictures and stuff so much. I believe videos more. But basically, I never experienced this game. Still, Kill Switch is a game that was supposedly created by a Soviet gaming company called Caravana Corporation in 1989. Now, I do say supposedly because extremely limited copies of the game were ever produced, but apparently, to give you the gist of the game, it was a survival horror game, one of the first of its kind, in which you were given the choice between playing a young girl or an invisible demon, which is kind of a bizarre, random choice in characters. And basically, you were meant to navigate this coal mine and defeat demons and other coal monsters and survive them and so forth. Apparently, you could never beat the game with the girl character for whatever reason. Whether the game would glitch out or it would hack or the enemies were too strong or whatever the reason was. So basically, you had to play the game through as the demon. But there's a catch. For whatever reason, upon beating the game, the entire thing would self-delete from your hard drive. Not the save, not just the data, the entire game. Gone. Poof. See you later. Bye. Go with Christ. Gone. Gone. Totally wiped from your hard drive. No trace. Unsalvageable. People have been trying for years, apparently. Which is why there is no copies remaining, at least upon my research. What causes this? Who knows? Talk about that in a minute. An intact copy of the game turned up on eBay a few years ago, where it fetched $733,000. You heard me right. $733,000 by a Japanese man named Yamato Ryushu. Hope I'm pronouncing that properly. And basically, this guy, he wanted to document a playthrough of the game because he was like, "Oh, I'm a computer programmer. This game's not going to delete itself. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure it doesn't." Blah blah blah. Paying that much money for it, I hope he would. So he wanted to document the playthrough on YouTube by making Let's Plays and that kind of thing, which is awesome. However, the only video that he posted was of him staring at his computer screen while gently weeping. Staring at his computer screen, weeping. Now, unfortunately, I could not find this video, so I could not see for myself whether or not this was legit. It seems to be a story in a lot of cases with this game that is what happened, and it was pretty well documented from people who just basically like that's what the video was. It's bizarre. There's a couple videos I found of apparent playthroughs of this game, but they looked like really buggy, just corrupt remakes of the game. It looked unplayable. So I don't know. Was it a simple virus that caused this to happen? Caused a game to literally completely delete itself from existence? Was it a simple virus? Was it the game messing with you? Was it really truly deleted? Was there a way to bring it back? Were the developers just playing a practical joke to say, hey, let's see how many people we can screw with and do this? Or Did it even really exist? Truly? Or was there a much more sinister reason that this was happening? Was this game indeed haunted from the get-go? I don't know, guys. But me personally, if I paid $733,000 for a game and it deleted itself, I'd probably make a video of me weeping at my computer screen as well. So that part doesn't seem that far-fetched, but who knows? Either way, game deleting itself from history, definitely a very interesting addition to the list. The second I read that, I was like, yeah, I got to put that on here. So my number 7 is a game I have a lot of experience with, and that's Fallout 3. Now, what is an urban legend or creepy thing that happens in Fallout 3, you might ask? There could be a couple things, maybe. But what I'm talking about is a pretty well-known one, and it's pretty well-known that it's mostly been debunked, but still. It's that Fallout 3 predicts the future. Now, if for some reason you do not know, Fallout 3 is a vast open world role-playing game. So it doesn't seem that far-fetched to have something like this in the game. People have claimed that they have found something in the game which predicts the future. And apparently, I should have done a little bit more research on this part, I will admit, but apparently it did already predict the death of Gary Coleman, and it also predicted an oil spill that happened. Still seems pretty far-fetched to me. I'm sure it's coincidences or whatever, but basically the story goes that in this post-apocalyptic game, it predicts the future in the real world. It uses Morse code and hidden messages hidden within the game's radio station. There are stations that broadcast Morse code in the game, which is pretty well known. I've heard them broadcasting Morse code. So basically, there's a Galaxy News radio station. If you kill the DJ and turn on the station, you hear a DJ. He's just rambling off cryptic phrases in Morse code. Or just phrases he says, I believe. And it's just, some of them are such as, the Queen has died today. The world mourns, as on days like these, we are all Brits. And I can't believe Britney actually won an Oscar. These phrases are followed by a series of numbers in Morse code that can be interpreted as dates. Well, one of them was the Queen was going to pass away. And it was going to happen apparently on March 19th, 2014. Well, guess what? It didn't. So Bethesda, the company that designed the game, obviously denies that these cryptic radio stations exist. So it sure does seem like a hoax to me. But I mean, I have heard them, and it sure sounds legit to me. I mean, it's probably nothing. It's very faint, the voice that you hear. And I think it's just meant to kind of screw with you, make you feel bad about killing the dude. But what if it isn't? What if it's real? You know? It's creepy. I mean, how creepy would it be for Britney Spears to win an Oscar? I mean, seriously. How creepy would it be, guys? Time will tell. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a podcast in 2027, I believe, was the year that was Britney Spears' winning an Oscar. We'll see. She wins an Oscar, guys. Confirmed. So we move on here to my number 6 on my 10 list here. Polybus. Hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Polybus, Polybus, was a government experiment. This is probably one of the most well-known urban legends in video gaming. Even people who aren't gamers know this one. I have to actually thank The Simpsons for knowing about this, because I saw it in an episode of The Simpsons, and I went, what the hell is that? So basically, this game was an arcade game that mysteriously appeared in an arcade in Portland, Oregon in the 1980s. Keep in mind, this was never, ever fully confirmed. The cabinet was completely black, except for the green joysticks and the logo at the top of the machine. The game combined elements of classic shooters like Tempest, mazes like in Pac-Man, and spiral puzzles. When played, this gets interesting, it supposedly caused all sorts of health problems, including amnesia, blackouts, nausea, seizures, headaches, night terrors, and in some cases, this is all hearsay, players were reported to commit suicide not long after playing. It would also cause players to literally fight to get at the machine to play around. Which, I mean, to me, that doesn't seem that bizarre, because I'm sure back in the day, if I was in the arcade and some idiot was hogging a machine, I'd punch him in the face too. But basically, it was also said that there were men dressed in black that would hang around the arcade, and they would often be seen messing with the game, leading to some to speculate that the device was not a game, but a government experience, and that they were collecting data from it, observing people. This obviously can never be confirmed. There are people out there who've claimed they worked on the game. There's some like sketches that came out and that kind of thing, but that's all hearsay. You know, there's no proof of this game ever actually existing. There's no proof of this arcade box ever existing. I mean, would it be kind of sweet to be able to say, yes, this is real, this actually happened, this was legit? I mean, sure, it'd be wicked, but I don't know, guys. It seems like a pretty easily debunked kind of creepy urban legend to me, but it is what it is. It's still creepy. I mean, if I was playing a game and there was black guys in friggin' black suits staring at me while I was playing, I probably wouldn't play the damn game. But it's still interesting, you know, property of the U.S. government. If you guys know the Simpsons clip I'm talking about, Bart's looking at a game, and Triangle Wars, I believe it was, and right next to it is a polybus machine, and it says property of the U.S. government on it, which is an obvious spoof. So pretty interesting. Very, very bizarre stuff so far in this 10 creepy urban legend / creepypastas games. I'm going to take a quick break here, guys, get a word from our wonderful sponsor, Jaybird Digital Arts, and when I come back, we're going to continue on with my top 5 for this 10 creepy video game urban legends / creepypastas. Alright, guys, let's say hypothetically here for a second that you have a business, you're in a band, you're a podcaster like me, you have a YouTube show, and you need some awesome new merch, business cards, logos, even maybe some t-shirts done up. Well, you need to look no further than my man, Mr. Jason Reese, over at Jaybird Digital Arts. Jason is offering a special 10% off discount just for listeners of The Harder Show when you mention The Harder Show upon contacting him. But what exactly does he do? Well, Jason does t-shirts, posters, album design, tickets, photo manipulation. You guys still with me? Advertising, business stationery, mailers, brochures, fine art, and anything else you can imagine, Jaybird Digital Arts can create it. Jason has done all of the t-shirts, logos, banners, and all social media stuff for both The Harder Show and for Harder Guitar Services, so I can promise that you will love and be inspired by what Jason comes up with. You can contact him on the web at www.jaybird, that's Jaybird, digitalarts.com, or you can search for him on Facebook and Instagram under the Jaybird Digital Arts handle. Search hashtag Jaybird Digital Arts for a look at all of his awesome and unique work. Alright, so we're going to continue on here with my top 5 for this list here. Starting off with number 5. This one is one that I think everybody knows. Everyone who listens to this podcast probably knows Minecraft. I'm sure you've all played it at one point. And basically, there's a very well-known kind of urban legend that goes around Minecraft. And that is one Herobrine. Now, like I said, this is more for modern gamers. This has been documented because it was caught on a live stream. Minecraft it's a game that it's really brilliant by its simplicity. You know, you have all your different materials in an open world, you create stuff, build structures, blah, 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 blah. But there has been a lot of claims that there's something sinister going on in this game. Enter Herobrine. Some players claim to have found mysterious structures appearing on their maps. And when I say mysterious, I mean like very bizarre looking things. Stuff that like the normal person wouldn't think to make. At least I think so. Others even claim to have seen the source of the structures, a mysterious white-eyed version of the game's protagonist. Theories regarding the existence of Herobrine range from the logical, he is a glitch, to the extraordinary, that, wait for it, Herobrine is the ghostly manifestation of the game's creator's deceased brother. That's crazy to me. However, the team behind Minecraft do not do much to discredit the legend of Herobrine in many of the game's updates. They list one of the improvements that they made, the removal of Herobrine, which is pretty funny. Is this just a virus or something? Is it a player messing with people? Someone who literally has no life and just sits playing friggin' Minecraft all day? I don't know. It seems pretty bizarre to me. I did watch the live stream where Herobrine was on. I've seen videos of him. People who find him in the weirdest places, and like they talk to him and he doesn't say anything, or he responds with really weird stuff. I don't know. Is it an in-game glitch, or for the sake of the list, is it a haunted account? Is this truly the ghost of the creator's dead brother? Is this legit a thing like this? Who knows? I think it's pretty cool that the developers don't discredit it and that they're kind of messing with players with the updates. I think that's awesome because it's just, it's letting people's imaginations run wild. It's letting people just do whatever they want and not discrediting it because it brings hype to the game. People like myself who wouldn't probably normally play Minecraft almost would just to see Herobrine at this point. Very interesting, very bizarre. I think it's a cool little urban legend. This possible existence, if you will, of Herobrine. I don't know why I went Matt Hardy for a second there, but whatever, we'll take it. So moving on to my number 4 spot. Now we're getting into some real serious shit here, guys. Really serious stuff. Number 4, we have a game that caused the first deaths related to a video game. And that game was called Berserk. Berserk is considered to be one of the greatest games of the arcade era of gaming. Basically, in this game, you battle an onslaught of robots. And there's boss fights and all these kind of things. It's a really cool looking game, especially for its time. You can check out gameplay footages of it and stuff. Very, very good game. It also has one of the most iconic battles in gaming history as far as boss battles with Evil Otto, who, for lack of a better term, was a smiley face. And people claim that Evil Otto causes deaths in real life. Let me explain. Berserk holds the horrifying honor, as I said, of being the first video game linked to the death of a person or persons. Jeff Daly was the first person to die after playing Berserk in 1981. Then again, in 1982, a healthy 18-year-old named Peter Borswicks was playing Berserk. Within 15 minutes, he was placing his initials into the game for getting a high score. He took a few steps away, then collapsed dead. Not collapsed and died later at hospital. He collapsed dead right after playing the game, 15 minutes later. The official causes of death in both cases were ruled as a heart attack. Were they unrelated? I don't know, guys. It seems pretty bizarre to me, the fact that both of these cases, it would happen there. The fact that there's been no other kind of clarified deaths from this game, you know. I don't know. I think it's pretty silly. What do I really truly think happened in this kind of a situation? Was it the excitement of getting a high score and it caused heart failure? You know, did these poor people have a pre-existing heart condition that they didn't know about? Should they have been playing video games? Who knows? It's very creepy to think about the fact that people legit, like, I mean, people, they died. It's documented that these two individuals, we have their names and everything, and their date of deaths, they died after playing this game. if the game was truly haunted and killed people, I feel like it wouldn't have be considered one of the greatest games from the arcade era. A lot of other people played it. A lot of other people didn't die. So I don't know. I think this one's pretty easily kind of debunked as being a random coincidence. But at the same time, I know that when I was a kid or when I was younger, even still, if I play a game and I beat a level and I get really excited, my heart's beating out of my chest because I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. So if somebody had a pre-existing heart condition, maybe it's possible. Who knows? Is it Berserk's fault? Is it Evil Otto's fault? I don't think so. I think it could have been any game. It just so happened that it was Berserk. I guess it was a very intense game for its time. But moving on, we have unfortunately more death related to video games in our number 3 spot. Now this is another one I have actual experience with. This one gets very dark very quickly, so I warn you guys now. And that is, another very well-known one, and that's the Pokemon Red, Green, Lavender Town Syndrome. That's a mouthful. So, basically, this had very real consequences, this story, and this is all truth. This is all truthful. I did a lot of research to make sure of that. So, for the most part on my list so far, everything's been pretty tamed, or the effects were very small, whereas this was not a small effect. This was very real, and it was very well documented. I think I can say that most people listening to this podcast right now have played Pokemon Red Green at some point. Yeah, probably. It's a good game. Pokemon Red. I'm a Pokemon Red guy personally. Usually started off with Squirtle, because I like Squirtle. And comment right now and let me know who you started off with, because I think it's funny for randomly in the middle of this kind of serious, creepy list to talk about what Pokemon we started out with in Pokemon Red. If you start off with Squirtle, you're the man or woman. Virtual fist bump. But basically, in this game, if you've played it, you know all about Lavender Town, aka the creepiest town in the freaking history of Pokemon. In my opinion, anyway. It is very well known that the Japanese version of Pokemon is different. There's a lot of changes they made before they sent it over to the States. It's been around longer. And that's very important for this legend. Not really even a legend, this is real. Because it directly relates to a difference in the music of Lavender Town from the Japanese version to the American version. So basically, tell you guys the full story here. The game was first released in Japan, and it supposedly correlated with a huge spike in suicides and illnesses in children ranging from age 7 to 12. The children did not fall ill or commit suicide until reaching Lavender Town in the popular game. The game's score was said to be the source of the sinister ailments in children. The piercing tones of the music caused headaches, nausea, and eventually suicidal tendencies in young children, but had no effect on adults. The music in the game, in that particular level, was actually changed before it shipped overseas. So what I'm going to do here, and I'm giving you guys a warning for this, just to hear the difference from the Japanese version and the American version or English version, I'm going to input them right here, right now. I searched them out and pulled them off the internet. I do notice a little difference, but you guys can be the judge. So first, I'm going to play you guys a little snippet, first 30 seconds or so, of the Japanese version, which is right here. So we went 45 seconds on that because at 40 seconds in, it starts hitting those really docile tones and it gets really almost uncomfortable to listen to, I think. And then now I am going to play the English version right here. So again, you can hear that there's some differences in there. Obviously, the beginning of it is different. It's a little more spaced out in the American version. But something that's very bizarre about this is I can recall when I first played the game getting a headache with the US version. Just that music gave me a headache. I hated it. I hated going to friggin' Lavender Town, as I think most people did. I cannot imagine having to listen to the original Japanese music for more than a couple minutes. I mean, I would go crazy, probably, especially when I was a kid, which is bizarre because I was playing this game when I was a kid, probably about 9 or 10. So good thing I didn't have the Japanese version of the game, or I might be sitting here doing this podcast right now. Who knows? Was it a coincidence that this happened? Was it a coincidence? Was there something else going on in Japan that was causing all these kids ages 7 to 12 to commit suicide and having suicidal thoughts and being sick? I don't know. Was there something else causing it? I can definitely say after listening to that music, because I actually listened to it before I put it up for like a full few minutes, like the full clip I found of it. And afterwards, I mean, I had a huge headache afterwards. I had a splitting headache. It really bothered me, that music. It was just like, it was uncomfortable to listen to, which is the point, I think. So I don't know. It says it has no effect on adults. I didn't feel like I wanted to kill myself or anything afterwards. So I don't know. It's very bizarre. It's definitely had real effects because it was documented that there was a spike in suicides around that time period. So I don't know, man. It's bizarre. Very, very bizarre stuff. I obviously feel terrible for those kids, you know. Very bizarre. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Trying to think if there's like, I mean, could it be something as simple as these kids who unfortunately commit suicide and that, being related to the game? If they got to Lavender Town and they kept losing and didn't do well, and then the music was giving them headaches and they kept losing and they felt bad for themselves, and is that a thing? Maybe, I don't know. I've lost a lot of video games in my life. I've never wanted to kill myself over it, but shit, I don't know, man. That's just it's bizarre. It's very weird. I mean, you guys heard the music yourselves, the clips, so let me know what you think. Comment right now and let me know, because I'm very curious to see what your guys' thoughts are on this. So comment and let me know what your starter was in Pokemon Red. And then let me know what your thoughts were on this topic, because I'd be very interested to hear what you guys have to say. So now we move on to my number 2 spot here on my list. And you guys may remember about half an hour ago or so, I was talking about the game, the image I saw that made me want to do this list. Well, now it's time to talk about that game. I played Morrowind for a very long time. I did not know, because I had an Xbox, that there were mods for Morrowind and that kind of thing. I just didn't know. I've only really started getting the mods myself the last couple months since I got my PS4, and they're fun, don't get me wrong. But basically, there's a mod, and it is entitled just Mod JVK, all lowercase, 1166, all the numbers, lowercase z dot ESP, all lowercase. And this gets very bizarre and kind of creepy. Yeah. basically, for those of you who don't know what Morrowind is, you may know Skyrim, the most kind of last Elder Scrolls game that happened. But basically, it's considered to be one of the best in the Elder Scrolls series. And it had a huge online community where users would upload mods and custom quests and characters and that kind of thing. Legend has it that there's a very creepy and sinister mod to Morrowind that exists, and that it could potentially drive a player insane. Now, I did a lot of research on this, and basically this was my finding on it, and it could probably drive me insane listening to this. So basically, this mod first popped up on the internet a few years ago. It was originally thought to be a virus, because when you loaded the game, your mod would freeze on the title screen and corrupt all saved data files, essentially ruining the game. So right off the bat, most people would stop. However, because people are crazy, it was soon discovered that if you ran the game in DOSBox, the software that allows gamers to play older PC games on their modern computers, the game would work. When the player starts the game with the mod, all the main characters in the game are already dead. Gone. Poof. Dead. Also, if you would stay in one spot for too long, your health would slowly begin to deplete. If you died from standing there too long, a new character would reveal himself. Players took to calling him the Assassin. This is legit. He appeared to be a man, except his legs and arms were long and bent like a spider. Players began to notice that if you paid close enough attention to the player, you could see the assassin around corners scurrying up walls, but only for brief moments. That's creepy as hell. Playing a game like Morrowind, there are all these moments where you just kind of stand around and take stuff in. But then there was this twist to it. It would drive me crazy. Just going, oh, look at that beautiful waterfall, whatever. I'm going to stand here and look at it. Oh shit, I'm dead. The assassin killed me. Like, that would just drive me insane. Another creepy element added to the game was that all the characters that were left alive, which is all just basically the common NPCs, would come outside at night and just stand there. Not do anything, not talk to each other or talk, just stand there. When a player would interact with one of the characters, they would simply say, "Watch the sky." I don't know what the hell's up with that. That's very bizarre. Very creepy. Watch the sky. What are we watching for? How about some help here? Another interesting twist to this, which I think correlates with the watch the sky thing, was that a new dungeon was also discovered. This gets good. Inside the dungeon was what players called the Hall of Portraits. The hall was lined with picture frames, and inside the picture frames were photos from the player's My Pictures folder. So basically, you'd be walking and you'd see pictures that were in your folders on your computer. That's creepy. That would freak me out. That would freak me out big time. At the end of this hall was a locked door. No one has ever posted proof that they figured out how to open the door. But there are some unbelievable stories of players obsessed with trying to open it. Playing the modded game for days straight with very little sleep, becoming absolutely obsessed with it. Some claim after long hours of playing, the game began to hallucinate seeing the assassin in real life, quickly crawling on their bedroom ceiling or down their halls or they go for a bathroom break. That is freaking creepy. And the thing is that's crazy about this, as great as this story sounds as like a fun, creepy story, this mod exists. You can go download it right now. It exists. It is real, guys. The Hall of Portraits, the assassin, all this stuff, this is all real. This exists. And I've seen some video footage. It's creepy. It's uncomfortable, and it is creepy, and I do not like it. But something interesting about this Hall of Portraits thing, the locked door. Upon some research, I have determined I think it has to do with like terrestrial, like the stars aligning in a certain way in real life, because that's the only thing I can think of as to why that would be. You have to wait for a certain game in day or something. The stars will form a certain pattern, and then the door unlocks, and you find God knows what. I can understand why players are obsessed with opening the door. I would be if I played the mod, I'm sure. I'm definitely not going to play it because I don't need that kind of stress in my life. But either way, it's very interesting. That was the story that caused me to want to do this list. I think it's very creepy. Not as creepy as my number one for this list here. This gets freaky very quickly. And it's a very well documented creepypasta. And that is Ben Drowned. Now, I know what some of you are already going to say. TJ, what the hell? This was debunked as a creepypasta by the dude who posted it. Basically saying, yes, this is a creepypasta. I'm going to be a creepypasta right now. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And you're right. But at the freaking time that this was happening in real life, it was horrifying. Okay? It was absolutely horrifying. So basically, what it is tale begins with an American student's blog under the name Jadusable, Gadusable. You can look it up. It exists. He is given an N64 console to play in his college dorm. Right on. And basically he gets bored with playing on his one game, which is Super Smash Bros. That was my first game as well. So the guy who's telling the story, which all happens in real time and happens throughout the course of a couple months, he goes to a bunch of local yard sales. He acquires GoldenEye, F-Zero X, which were quintessential, of course. And then the story gets a little weird. He gets the last bin, and he gets a game, picks it up, and it's a gray cartridge. And etched in on it is Majora with a black marker. And the guy gives it to him for free. Says, here you go, it's yours. Here's what it is. So, the guy telling the story, he pops the cartridge in the console, and he sees the previous owner's save file on it, named Ben. Okay, is what it is. The player made a lot of progress, so the gamer, the guy who bought the game, decided to make a new save file called Link, as I would name him too. It's almost like a tradition, at least it was for me, if I got a game and someone else was playing it and they didn't delete their save file and it was very far progressed and they put work into it, I'd leave it alone generally if I could. Especially if you were renting games, like back in the day we used to rent games, guys. If you were the kind of person who deleted people's save files, you were a dick. Unless you had to, of course. But if you did it for no reason, you're a dick. Anyway, so started playing the game. The game worked. There were a few texture glitches in the background's missing. Plus all the characters call him Ben instead of Link sometimes. He thought it was a glitch, so he decided to delete the other game. Big freaking mistake. He starts again, but there are even more glitches. This time including the background music playing backwards. The game skipping to the final boss and Link repeatedly dying by catching on fire for no apparent reason. And of course, drowning. There are a lot of videos about this online. You can go see them, and it's freaky as hell. You're just standing and all of a sudden you just burst into flames and die. Or you just drown for no apparent reason. The most disturbing part of this is that the NPCs talking about the mysterious Ben and the fact Ben drowned. You go to someone, it's just like, Ben drowned. The game was creepier as it would spawn a weird statue of Link that would appear by playing the Song of Valkyrie. And the message, "You've met a terrible fate, haven't you?" would pop up. Every time he would die, obviously, but it would pop up randomly for no apparent reason. This became even more unsettling because as the game was played through, this guy would post his progress on YouTube. And they're still viewable today. You can look them up. And his blog got very unsettling. His blog post started saying that he started seeing Ben in his sleep. Basically, upon returning to the stall, it was gone, but he found out around asking people that the guy's son had died. He drowned. His name was Ben, and he drowned. So, he couldn't get the game out of his head. So he decided to just basically keep playing the game for hours on end until he beat it. Didn't work for him. So basically, he decided that he was going to destroy the game and everything. But not before the next 30 blogs or so were insane ramblings, and he was cursing Ben, who blames him for his lack of sleep and mental health issues, which he was getting big time. So basically, it leads to him literally burning the mysterious game cartridge in his laptop to avoid any more hauntings from Ben. And I believe it said that he like seeked mental health and stuff, and he's okay now. Whatever it was, can't remember how the whole story ended, but it was debunked by the guy himself, saying that it was a creepypasta, that he made the whole thing up, that the footage was all edited by him and everything. I mean, he did an amazing job, absolutely incredible job. Guys, you want to spend an afternoon looking up some bizarre shit? Look up the Ben Drown story. Look it up. Watch the YouTube videos in sequence. Some creepy shit. Even though I've told you guys it's been debunked, I know that some of you are probably going, that's kind of a cheap number one, TJ, what the hell? But I personally think it was creepy as hell. I personally think it was worth being on this list. Very creepy stuff. As someone who played Majora's Mask so much, when I heard that there was a haunted version of it, it didn't even surprise me. I was like, yeah, okay, makes sense. All right. So it's truly bone-chilling stuff for me, guys. Yeah, just terrifying stuff for me. When I first heard about this, and it was still going on when I heard about it, like the progress was still being made and everything, that freaked me out big time. Because I had a copy of Majora's Mask at the time that I was borrowing from someone, and I was playing Majora's Mask at the time. That's how I found it. I was looked up like Majora's Mask, whatever I looked up, and that freaked me out. I didn't play Majora's Mask for a while after that. So, and sometimes even when I play it, it still kind of freaks me out sometimes. But anyway, that's my list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll do a quick recap here for those of you who may have forgotten. Number 10, we had Braid, that the princess is actually a metaphor for an atomic bomb. Number 9, we had the haunted NES Godzilla game. Number 8, we had Kill Switch, the game that erases itself from history. Number 7, we had Fallout 3 predicts the future. Number 6, Polybus, a government experiment, ? Number 5, we had The Legend of Herobrine. Number 4, we had Berserk, the game that caused the first real-life death. Number 3, we had Pokemon Red Green Lavender Town Syndrome. Number 2, we had Morin Mod JVK1166Z.ESP. And then, of course, number 1, we had Ben Drown. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys got a kick out of it. Hope you guys maybe learn some cool new creepypastas and urban legends to tell your friends and that kind of thing if you guys are ever on the topic. Be sure to subscribe to The Harder Show, whatever you're listening to on, however you're listening. If you're listening on the SoundCloud, of course, be sure to subscribe, like this podcast, let me know what you thought of it, comment, let me know what you thought of my list, let me know what your starter was in Pokemon Red, and let me know what you thought of that one particular story. I would love to hear your guys' opinions on all these stories, obviously. Let me know what you guys thought. Of course, if you were listening on the YouTube, be sure to leave a like or dislike on this video, depending on what you thought of it. And, of course, subscribe to keep up with everything that goes on the YouTube, all the gaming stuff, all the vlog stuff, updates, all that fun stuff. If you guys notice, I do actually now have all my podcasts in separate playlists. Well, all the ones that exist so far. I have episodes 1 through 50 in one separate playlist, and then episodes 51 through 100 in another playlist. And then once I get up over 100 episodes, I'm going to do another playlist for the more current stuff. And then, of course, I have playlists for all the update vlogs and that kind of thing, and for Harder Plays, which I should be doing another one of those very soon. But if you're listening on the iTunes, which you guys know is the easiest way to listen to The Harder Show, be sure to subscribe to keep up with everything that once it is put up. It will be downloaded to the device of your choosing automatically once you set it up for that. You don't even have to think about it, guys. You can just have great content like this on The Harder Show. You don't even have to think about downloading it. Who doesn't want to do that, guys? You got enough going on in your life. If there's another way you're listening, be sure to let me know so I can keep up with how you guys are listening to the podcast, how you guys are enjoying the podcast. Of course, keep it locked to all the Facebook and the Twitter, all the social medias, and keep it locked to the episode 100th live cast event page on Facebook, so that you can keep up with any details that may change. Very much looking forward to the live cast, like I mentioned in the intro, guys. It's going to be February 19th, 7 p.m. Going to be a lot of fun. I have one big announcement to make. One kind of small announcement, but it is going to be a kind of a big change for the Harder Show. It's a big change. It's kind of been coming for a while. But I think it's a good thing. And the one announcement is very big, and I'm very excited for it. It's something I've been working on for a while. I can't wait to tell you guys. I've wanted to tell you guys for a while now because I'm so excited about it. You'll understand when you see it. May us do a giveaway? Do some t-shirts or something? Who knows? We'll see. I feel like I kind of should do something special like that for the 100th episode. We're going to be hanging out. Hopefully you're going to have a lot of people in the chat. Hopefully I'll get some of my my podcast buddies out in the world who have been supporters of the podcast coming on, and you guys can maybe chat with them and talk to them and check out their podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. We've all worked very hard to get to this point. Everyone who's supported the podcast, everyone who's been on the podcast. My boy, Mr. Brandon Bowden, the producer of the Hotter Show, has also worked very hard to get the podcast to this point. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the future. I'm very excited to share with you guys the information. Very excited to share with you guys the big surprise. I'm hype about it, guys. I really am. I truly am. If I don't seem hype about it, I am hype because it's going to be great. But all that aside, guys, that's going to do it for me here today on the Hotter Show. Thank you so much again for tuning in and checking out this 10 creepy video game urban legends / creepypastas. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to share it with your friends if you think they'll get a kick out of it. And I will catch you guys next time on the Hotter Show.